Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Well, thank you for coming. And so who am I speaking with?
My name is Sara Brennan, and I live in Charlotte. I've been here for about 8 years, and
Wait a minute, where did you move from?
Pennsylvania. I'm originally from Erie, Pennsylvania. Actually, Corey, Pennsylvania. My grandmother would kill me if I didn't say where I was actually from. So
Erie, Pennsylvania. But wait a minute, I used to work with a guy,
did you?
Mark Feast, and he was from Erie, Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think he said it was a small town because I was thinking of Erie like the I don't know, the books or whatever, you know, like is it scary or haunted or something? I
Oh
don't know.
yeah. It's actually it was voted or named one of the snowiest cities in the United States. So it's very
Really?
cold. It's a smaller city.
The snowiest? I mean,
Snowiest.
like, so how, like, I mean, you get, like, you walk out and it's like 2 feet of snow or something?
Some days we'll get like 20 some inches, and I don't remember what they got last year, which is why I moved south.
You're like, I'm trying to forget about it, and you're bringing it up.
Exactly. No, but yeah, last year was really bad for them. And so my husband actually came to the United States from Australia on a basketball scholarship, and we met in Erie, Pennsylvania in college.
Wow.
And,
how amazing is that?
Yeah, and so I only went to college like a half an hour from where I grew up, and I don't know why. That's just where I decided to go.
Right.
And my mom always told me, you're going to meet your husband in college. And so I kept saying, no, because I had a boyfriend at the time. I was like, no, Mom. And so I go there, and after my freshman year, he came. I met him, and we were mutual friends for a while, and then we just started dating, and the rest is history. But
wow,
yeah.
That is an amazing story.
Yeah.
And your mom called it.
She did. She was right. I hate to say it, but she was right.
You know, and I'm going to tell my buddies because I love that your mom did that because I believe thoughts become things. One of my favorite authors, that is his principle. You know, like
Really?
what can you look at that wasn't a thought first?
Uh-huh.
Nothing. Even
Right.
we were thoughts first.
Even, yeah, I agree with that. Like putting things in the atmosphere. I always say,
Right.
like, if someone says something negative, I'll be like, don't put that in my atmosphere.
Yeah, I
Get
don't
that
want it.
out
I
of
don't
here,
want
'cause
it.
it'll happen.
Yeah, I don't want that. And your mom was like, you're going to find your husband in college.
Yeah,
Bam.
yeah, she was right.
You're proof it worked.
Yep.
Well, your mom. So, congrats to mom. Now, what brought you to Charlotte?
I went to grad school, and during grad school, we kind of realized that my husband and I, well, fiance at the time, had realized we wanted to go south, and his job gave him a couple opportunities. Okay. So we jumped in the car and started exploring some of those opportunities. We got to Charlotte, and we were supposed to continue on down to Florida and keep looking, and we liked Charlotte, and we called Realtor, and we said, hey, can you just show us some houses for our budget?
Right.
Little did we know that weekend we would buy a house, and
it's just like picture perfect. Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
I didn't have to go through any of the like major house hunting process. I probably saw 30 the day that he showed us, the realtor showed us houses, and my heart was just set on this one, and we kind of got in this situation where we could put a bid in, and it was a pretty quick process, and they said, okay, you bought a house, and we were like, okay.
Wow.
We came here to visit, and so now we own a house. So that's how we ended up in Charlotte.
Oh my gosh, this is so awesome. Now, wait a minute. So you said that you looked at 30 houses. Was that in one day?
It was like over the span of 2.5 days. We started on a Friday afternoon. We looked all Saturday, and then Sunday morning we kind of revisited the ones we really liked. And by Sunday afternoon, we thought we were kind of crazy, so we flew my mom down and said, you know, would you take a look at this house we're thinking of buying? And we Skyped with my husband's family, and we said, what do you guys think? They're like, we don't know. We're in Australia. My husband's Australian.
Right.
And so they were like, you know, we don't know. And so we said, okay, we'll just give it a shot, and so we ended up with it. But we love it. We've been there forever. This we've added things to it. And
yeah, who cares?
I mean, great area.
You found
we love
out
it.
of 30 houses. I don't think I've ever looked through 30 houses. Like, you know, like I mean, that's a lot. So you guys, I mean, and then you had one that you were set on.
Yeah.
That's like awesome because you know if you looked at 30 houses, you know that was. And you're like, I'm set on this one. That's it. And then you got it.
Yep,
like,
we got it. And
wow.
And I know some people have looked for like months for houses and stuff. And so I was like, thank the Lord, I didn't have to do that because I'm like super type A, so I would be examining everything, and I'm just glad that it happened quickly for me.
You are a planner. And now you said that your husband's Australian. Does he have an accent?
He does have an accent.
Oh, I'd like to talk to him. You think he'll come on the show one time?
He might. Yeah, he probably would.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody. They say, Sarah, don't you just love talking to your husband? After a couple of years, you're like, He's my husband. Yeah, accent or not, there's good days and there's bad days.
Wait a minute, that's the longest thing I've ever heard. Like after a couple of years, so it took you years to get over. So there's no hope for us unless we married somebody with an accent. There's no hope for us to get over that accent. I mean,
it depends. I mean, some people they say they love to hear it. But you get used to it. Just like with anything, you get used to it.
Right. But what I'm saying is, I'm not over the fact of accents. When I hear one, I love hearing it.
You would love to hear his,
right?
And their slang and their banter and the way they abbreviate everything. It's just it's a whole nother language. And they call one of the funniest things they say is they call a sweatshirt with a hood. They call that a sloppy Joe.
A sweatshirt with a hood, a sloppy Joe.
And so the first time I went to Australia, I was talking about sloppy Joes and it was the food version. And so his dad was looking at me the whole time I was saying oh, these sloppy Joes were so good, they're my favorite. And his dad's like, what? They don't have the food version of sloppy Joes there. It's the weirdest things that you don't realize that are just culture differences.
Wow. So
same language, completely different words.
Oh my gosh. I love sloppy Joes, in my mouth, and then he would have been
I know.
Gosh, what is this?
Exactly.
But, so now, you've been to Australia.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I've probably been there 10+ times.
Okay. Well, tell me about that. Tell me something about what was it like to go to Australia? Because I've never been.
The first time I went, I'd known my husband he was my boyfriend then, probably 6 months. And so I said to him, I'm going with you. I've always wanted to go. I'm going with you when you go back home next. And so we planned the trip. We went home. And it was awesome. It's it kind of reminds me of an LA and San Diego mixed. They're it's got that city vibe, but it's got that very beachy, relaxed vibe.
Really?
Everything is right on the water. The city is right on the water. He lives in Sydney, Australia. So it's just beautiful, amazing. We would love to go back there, but the cost of living and what we can have here, especially here in Charlotte, we're pretty happy with. And so we try to make it home to visit at least once a year. Okay. We have a toddler now. So
okay. Congratulations.
Thank you. We've taken him once, and that was a trip in itself. I could talk for 80 minutes about that. But taking a toddler on a 24-hour flight is crazy.
What was one of the most interesting things that you can remember off the top of your head?
Well,
on the plane,
everyone's sleeping. So we take off from Dallas at 3 in the morning. So everyone's asleep. You eat, you pass out, you sleep your 10 or 12 hours, and then you're basically almost there. You have 6 left. And so my son woke up about 6 hours into everyone sleeping, and it was pitch black, and he's a wide awake little 7-month-old who's ready to play and scream and everything else. So I took him back to the kitchen on the plane, and there's this little cubby kitchen thing, and so we played on the floor in the kitchen for 3 hours because I didn't want to wake anyone up, and it was there was nothing else to do, and it was crazy, and diaper changes and all that stuff. It was scary, but it was worth it. I mean, we got to get home to see the family.
Yeah, and so wow. So eventually, you guys want to ever live in Australia?
Yeah, maybe start out having an investment property there someday, and then visit that, and then maybe retire there, or maybe sooner, depending on how both of our jobs go. But there's definitely aspects of the States and of Australia that we want our kids to grow up with. Sports in high school are not nearly as big as they are here.
Right.
So my husband missed out on. Well, he says he missed out on all of that, and he wants our son Mason to get that experience of playing, the high school football nights. My husband just thinks that's so awesome, the pep rallies and all that stuff, because they don't have that there.
Really?
Which is one of the reasons he came to college here, because their college sports aren't anything like what ours are. So
right. I actually talked to a guest on a former show, and they were all pairs, and they were from Switzerland or Germany, Switzerland, Germany, and Croatia, and they were saying that. They were telling me that the sports are not they were we don't have the acts in between. That's what they call it. They were we don't have the acts in between, and I was like, what? I didn't even get it at first, but I was I realized what they were saying, and it's acts in between. They're saying in between the game. Right. When the time stops and the cheerleaders. Like,
right.
it's just so exciting.
Halftime show,
And
it
was. I mean, and I don't know what it would be like if I didn't grow up like looking at that. Like, you know, I mean.
Yeah, that's part of high school. That's like Friday nights. You go to the game and you hang out with your friends and there's a dance afterwards and, you know, all that stuff. So.
But I know, I'm going to go ahead and make an assumption. You were one of the girls that didn't watch the games? Because all my friends never watched the game. Like, did you see that play when and they're like, we were talking.
Well, I was always an athlete my whole life, so I tried to pay attention, but yeah, I definitely was socializing in the stand.
I do too. When I go to football games when I wasn't playing, I socialize.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I get it. Unless it's a Clemson game, I'll be watching and socializing if I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But so you were an athlete. What sports did you play?
In high school, I did track. And I played basketball for a little while, and then my main sport was volleyball, and that's what I played in college. That's kind of how I met my husband. It was a small school. It's called Mercyhurst College, and now it's actually Mercyhurst University. And
I think I've heard of Mercy.
It's in Erie, Pennsylvania.
But I'm saying, didn't they make it in the tournament, in the basketball tournament this year?
Division II. They're Division II. But Mercyhurst is what they're
Mercyhurst.
called.
I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking.
They're a big hockey school. We're Division I hockey, and so one of the girls in my class, her name was Megan Augusta. She played in the Olympics while we were there. So it's a big hockey school, and lacrosse has made a big name for itself there. But yeah, so we're Division II, most everything else. My husband played basketball there, and I played volleyball. And they would have practice right after our practice, so we would be taking down the nets, and they would be coming in to start shooting.
Yeah,
so we would pass each other a lot.
Wow.
So,
okay. Yeah. Well, see, at North Greenville when I played, it was Division. It's still Division II, and the volleyball season, our workouts and basketball was kind of around the same. So I remember that scene, but I was football. Maybe y'all didn't have football players walking through the gym.
Yeah. They were mostly. It was a different. I guess it was in the fall. I guess they were mostly outside. I didn't really see them that much.
Right. Well, see, our lockers, it was a smaller school, so our lockers, we had to come through the gym to get to our lockers. So we came up because they were still building the stadium. It's finished now, but they had torn down the old one and started a new one. But yeah, I totally get that. So you guys, and so how long did you play volleyball?
I played for 3 years in college. And
so you can jump. I mean, and you're a track. What'd you run in track too?
I ran the hurdles. I ran 300 hurdles and 100 hurdles. And sprints and relays. I can't do I have done a half marathon before, but it nearly killed me. I'm not a distance person. I'm more of a short sprinter kind of. But I definitely wasn't in the front row when I played volleyball. I was in the back row because I'm too short. But I'm quick, so I'm 5'4".
5'4". Oh, you're quick? Okay.
Yeah, I'm quick and kind of.
Yeah, if you run the hurdles, you're quick.
Scrappy, yeah.
Yeah, I think because you're starting to remind me just because you're saying you're track and hurdles. One of my best friends, Christina.
Oh yeah.
She went to Coastal Carolina, but she did track and she did the hurdles. Like she has blonde hair just like you.
Oh, yeah?
Like y'all are kind of similar. But yeah, she's scrappy and quick. She did pole vault. I think she.
Oh, I did pole vault for a little while, but I ended up being much better at hurdles. I kind of was playing around with things in the beginning.
Right.
And I loved pole vault. It was so cool. It was like the only time you could ever flip around on something like that. It's so
I think
cool.
she set the record for our high school,
That's
for
so
girls
cool.
Pole vault. Like she loved pole vault.
Awesome.
But yeah, y'all were both. She's probably around 5'6" too. But so now, so you're a big athlete. You still play volleyball or run any? Or?
I would like to play volleyball more, but it's kind of hard to play pickup with people who actually know how to play. So when you're used to diving and being all over the place like I am, I find it hard to hold back. So when I'm playing with people who don't really know how to play, slam into people, and they might not appreciate my aggressiveness.
They don't want to go hard in the paint.
Well, they're a little nervous. They're flapping at the ball and stuff, and I'm like get out of the way. I'm going to plow you over.
So you take it more seriously, and they're just more lackadaisical.
Yeah. So I do love to play. When I was a teacher for 6 years, and so we played a couple times in teachers versus student type things for fundraisers and things like that.
And you would kill them.
The kids would just laugh because I just can't turn it off. Once I start playing, I'm on the floor, and they just didn't expect it.
I'm not judging you at all because that is the exact same way I am. People
really?
I don't like to play a lot of sports with people just because when I play, my buddy tells me there's no he's like, I'm like an old school blender. It's just on and off. There's no speeds.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I do get. I don't like to get in that mode because I got real focused, real serious.
The competitive nature comes out, and you're like, ah. But
so
my husband's the same way too. So
it works out.
We have a competitive household. Yeah. My son is.
So how old is your son?
My son, he's 21 months old. So
okay.
He's already